all the world's problems for you in 15 minutes. You're going to go to bed tonight knowing everything you need to know about how to make $1 bajillion or more to have the perfect product or service. No, wait, hold on. That's not real. That's not going to happen here. We can't do that. And we're just going to be renegades and just tell you straight up, that's not going to happen. Our goal with this time together is to get you to start thinking about your problems, your challenges, and start to think about what solutions are, how you can figure out those solutions. Just one solution today, not the big solution, but one solution that will move you on that path towards being better as a business person, as a leader, as a manager, as an employee. It doesn't matter, whatever it is. So we're going to help you figure that out today with today's antidote. That's Tom Brush. I'm Bob Graham. And first of all, I want to say kudos to Tom for taking our production to a new level. He's got a really nice intro that he's using. I mean, I'm starting to think, I haven't brought it up in like 3 weeks, but I'm feeling like there's a TV show coming. Like, maybe Home and Garden TV does a spin-off channel, like Home Garden, and it could just be like the business TV. And they get people like you and me to do shows at like 4 a.m. between the ads for, better lawn edging service or something. I don't know. Just thinking. I feel like we could be wrapped in between infomercials, Tom, so easily.
We definitely could. And considering this is our 60th episode, can you imagine that?
That is 59 more than I expected us to be able to do with any kind of precision. So it would be difficult to argue, but we go and go until someone tells us to stop. We're like the Energizer Bunny, right?
Absolutely.
So I guess that's my self-doubt coming in, and that's our topic this week. My self-doubt is, when you said 60, my first thought was, we've wasted people's time for 60 days now. And that makes absolutely no sense, because we have anecdotal evidence to suggest otherwise. And that's where self-doubt is so powerful, because it just crops up, foolishly. And once that cropped up, I can hear my tone has changed altogether in this discussion. It went from light and upbeat to, 60 days. Did we really do that to people? What were we thinking? And I think that's the challenge of self-doubt. Now, you were going to share with us a story of where self-doubt worked ultimately in your favor, right?
Yeah, well, I think it was more a matter of maybe overcoming self-doubt.
Okay.
It was a little over a year ago, and I had attended this, like many of us do. You watch something online and you're connected to somebody through a program, and they invite you to a live event. I know you've done live events with people. And, I was at this event. It was great. I loved it. And as these events go, of course, there's an offer made at the end. And it was an opportunity to really upgrade your business, to really take a different look at how you were using your business at a very significant level, for me at least. And, it was a 3-day thing, and the offer was made at the end of the second day, I believe. And of course, I'm sitting in the back of the room. I can see myself in the back of the room going through all of the why I should and why I shouldn't, and what were the challenges going to be. And, all right, this is a significant investment. And what's my wife going to say? How am I going to have that conversation? And
I know that one all too well.
Well, I think it's one of those things that I was sitting in the back of this room just going like, man, it's a lot of money. What am I going to do with it? How am I going to pay for it? And the other side of, because I'm like, my business isn't where I need it to be. I don't have the clients yet. I'm not ready for this. Am I ready to be in this position? And, but the part of me was saying, man, this would be a really smart investment for me in my business, and how I could grow it, and how I could take it the person who was leading it made a great example. There's a lot of people out there in business who are hobbyists, who want to just do it, but aren't ready to really dive in. You know, they've always got that backup plan. And I think because of them, there's some self-doubt in that. And so I think what happened is when I finally got the courage and called my wife and had the conversation, she was like, you know, look, if this is what you think is going to be a smart move for your business, you know, that made a difference. And so, you know, I figured out how to put the down payment down, and honestly, it was the best investment I probably ever made in anything, potentially, outside of getting married.
What about getting to work with me, Tom? Doesn't that come in like the top 2?
Yes. Yes.
You had to think about it.
I was like, 1, 2, no. Well, and what's interesting to me is remember we were talking yesterday about the thing in your stomach. You get to that point where you have that feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can really do this. Like this is, and how I felt like that was something that as when I start to know that there's something I should do. Oh, my wife is watching, so this is even.
I was going to say, I'm seeing the comments. I'm seeing that your wife is watching, and your face is turning red. Is she watching because she has a genuine interest, or she just hit something wrong? Ask her for me.
Well, she's upstairs, so I will ask.
Oh, okay.
We'll find out whether that was she hit the wrong button or not.
See, there's more self-doubt, right?
Correct.
I mean, you and I both, in that moment, it's so funny. We see her name come up on the comments, and my immediate reaction is, oh, this is getting way too real. Now she's, there you go.
Yes.
But it's funny how that happens to us. That Neil's comment is great. Time to buy flowers, Tom.
I made a nice comment. I said that, you know, she was the one who was like, you should do this.
No, what I'm saying, though, is think about it. As soon as you and I both saw that she was watching, it got more serious. Because while everyone who watches matters, and we care about everyone, truly, when there's someone that you have to be close to, it ups the ante a bit. And I had this a couple weeks ago when my nephew had watched, and he sent us that nice note. And I'm like, as soon as I got that note, and it's like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Right.
It's just the way we are as human beings. It's self-protection. Your unwillingness to spend in that coaching program wasn't really about whether it was the right investment or not. At some point, it was, do I owe that to myself? Can I do that for myself? And what is the potential risk? Because unfortunately or fortunately, money really ties a lot of risk to things. When you throw money at it, it changes the paradigm. It's one thing if I say, you, hey, Tom, we can do this podcast thing every morning. You go, really? What's it going to cost? And we go, maybe $10 a month or so. I mean, it's chump change. There's an investment of our time. But if I said to you, Tom, we can do it, but we're going to have to spend $10,000 for the equipment. Well, time out.
Right.
I'm not sure that's the right fit.
Right. We went from thinking about the value that it would provide or how much we would enjoy it. It was an easier thing to do to now you had to stop and be like, and that would have been interesting whether I would have had that feeling in my stomach about, is this the right thing to do if that had been the case?
Well, and that's one of the things when we figure out our pricing that we have to factor in. What is the negotiation with self-doubt versus, the person who you and I both do coaching, they want to know a price, you give them a price. And sometimes that price is, oh, this sounds great because they're seeing the value. I invest this amount and I know I can't solve this problem. Boom. I want to get better. And this is the only way the only path I see for myself. The other option is, okay, this is a gamble. Am I going to see the value? And that's where, when you talk to people about pricing, because I've been going through this with a couple of people in the last week or so, when you talk about pricing, you've got to evaluate what the value is of that thing that you're selling, whatever it is, whether it's a widget, whether it's lumberjacking services, whether it's coaching, or whether it's law practice. What is the risk reward? Think of lawyers, right? What's one of the things that lawyers do is they'll say, okay, we're not going to charge you unless we win. Then we're going to take 1/3 of the money. So you win $1 million, the lawyer makes 1/3 of that. But if you lose, the lawyer doesn't get any money. Well, at that point, you go, wow, what's my risk? Right. They're heavily invested. They're heavily motivated. This can only be win-win. They're going to do everything because otherwise they get no money. And then you have the other case where it's like, I'm trying to think of something. Pay me up front. Right. You know, I guess I was introduced to a program that I didn't do, but it was like, okay, pay $12,000 up front for a year of our services. Oh, whoa, time out. Well, why are we doing it that way? Well, that's just the way we do it because I want your commitment. Well, you know what's really funny? If it were $1,000 a month, my commitment would have been just as robust. I can assure you. Right. But we also can use that self-doubt and that worry and that risk to incent people to be the right people for us, right? If I did coaching services at $5 an hour, everyone would take it, right? And no one would benefit, right? Because there's no investment. And like you said, with the coaching services, that price was high enough that you took it very seriously. I mean, you were a different person the day you told me about it.
Absolutely.
That's what sparks the growth, right? So that's, to me, that's the upside of the self-doubt equation is, hey, you have the self-doubt, you overcome it, and then you roll into a new you.
Right. No doubt. I think that's the amazing thing is once you have the opportunity to get past it, it's funny how things open up. You know, it's funny how you see things differently because this one hurdle that got in your way, which is really in your mind, once you broke through that, you're like, wow, look at all that's going on. You know, like you walk out of the forest and you see the mountains and you're like, this is amazing. You know, I was missing this because I was caught in the trees. And the trees of self-doubt are thick, high, and all over the place. And so I think it's so hard, you know, sometimes for people to cut through. It's so hard to do it alone. You know, again, I don't know that I make that decision if I don't call Liz and say, I really think this is important. And she said, well, if you think this is going to make a difference for your business and this is what you want to do, this is like, I needed that reaffirmation that this was a smart decision. And if this is what I thought was going to be best, we'll figure it out. And, you know, I think that's some of the times we get in that ourselves. We're trying to make decisions on our own. And the only thing typically we have is the self-doubt is that little devil on this shoulder that seems this big. And the positive, confident Tom is like there. You know, it's so hard until you have someone else who can step in and say, well, wait a minute. What about this? This is important. This, you know, tell me why this is important. You say, I don't know. And next thing you know, the self-doubt side goes way down and the positive confidence side goes way up.
Yeah, I think that supportive community is the key because we just can't do it ourselves. That the devil's voice that you describe so well as being really tall. I picture a garden gnome, you know, versus like this tiny little doll. The difference is stark. And when you have someone who can point it out to you, it makes a huge, huge difference. It changes everything. And I think that's one of the things, frankly, you and I have both succeeded more in the last year or two because we've been able to talk each other through the self-doubt and to say, well, Tom, come on, really? I mean, here's the reality. I never get to do it with Tom. He's always perfectly on track. I'm the one he's constantly helping through. You know, I'm reminded of something Tara Brach, who's one of these mindfulness people, well known. She does meditation. She does a weekly program that I've watched. She suggested that the way to overcome these types of things is to get as close to the edge of the blade as possible. So picture a knife blade. And she said, lean into it and push into it as far as you can go before it cuts you. And it's a great way to think of self-doubt, right? That if you push yourself up to that edge, well, that's what self-doubt is, right? Fear we're going to be cut. So if I can get up to that knife, really close to the knife, but not cut myself, how much further have I gone if I go, whoa, there's a knife over there? And I love the image, and I also love the severity of the image, because in our mind, we make that self-doubt to be the knife.
No doubt.
It's a sharp, sharp blade, even though it's a very dull blade. Heck, half the time it's probably just a log that you could sit on.
Right.
But most of the time we make it that really sharp knife. So I love that image. I keep that in mind since I've heard it, and I'm like, okay, what's the knife here? Okay, the knife is something silly. Okay, how can I get closer to it? So I don't know if that makes sense to anyone else. We got a lot of comments today. I see there's a whole Tom and Liz and buy chocolates. Frank's in. Frank says he has to get back to being a lumberjack, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Yes.
People love the conversation about my wife and I.
Well, it's real. It's real. That doesn't surprise me. I think that's part of it. And I think the fact that you brought your wife into the discussion is a good thing too. Not everyone does that. And I'll leave that there. Going forward, got to do it. I shouldn't have, but I did. Anyway, so if you've enjoyed our discussion, we'd love to see you invite other people into these discussions with us. We do this every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. You can join our Ring of Renegades, where we have a gang of people who are out there making a change. They're getting information and sharing their knowledge and wisdom. And this morning, we posted what someone probably rightfully described as a manifesto of what a renegade is. And real proud of that. Tom and I did some work on that. So if you want to see that, you can go to the Ring of Renegades, or I tell you what, I'll make a special offer. If someone wants to know what a renegade is and they haven't joined the group, feel free to just text or email Tom or me, or you can get to us here with a comment, and we will be happy to share that with you. The other thing is we have a group of really supercharged renegades called the Renegade Wayfinders, who are going to find the way to the next great opportunity, the great things that they have available in their life. We're going to help them. Tom and I will be guiding them in focus, accountability, changing their perspective, and building an action plan in a supportive community. Look at that, Tom. I nailed it, all 5.
That was good.
Tom's been giving me a hard time because I always forget one. So if that's of interest to you, you can go to renegadewayfinders.com. And with that, Tom, what's your one antidote today? Antidote, not anecdote. We've been having, as Neil described it, anecdote karaoke.
Look at you. I think it's interesting because we've talked about self-doubt all week, and we were talking about examples of it. And I guess my thing is, if you are struggling with self-doubt, find someone to talk to about it, and someone who can have a really frank, fair conversation, because you need that. You don't want somebody who's just going to tell you, oh, everything's going to be okay, and you don't want somebody to say, oh my God, don't do it, it's the worst thing you could ever do. But you want someone who's going to ask you questions to help you figure out whether or not this is true self-doubt, or it's just a hurdle that you need to get through so you can see the mountains on the other side of the forest.
Tom, that's a great point, and I love it. And I'm going to challenge us for tomorrow. I'm going to go a little bit off script, and for tomorrow, I'm going to suggest that what if you and I actually went through an exercise where you helped me through some real life self-doubt, and we showed people what that relationship can be. You comfortable with that? It doesn't expose you at all. It's all me.
Sure. Happy to do that.
Okay, so tomorrow we will actually. I'm sure I can find something I'm having doubts about. So easy, I'm just the list will go on and on and on. It'll be its own manifesto. But tomorrow
There you
morning,
go.
what we'll do is we will actually do an example of how this can work. Because for most people, I think this is out there, and we can bring it in here. So we'll do that real time tomorrow morning. That is Thursday. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time. You won't want to miss that as Tom walks me through self-doubt, cures me of all my ills in one short session.
Wow, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
In 15 minutes, no less.
Okay, we got it.
Going where no therapist has ever been.
All right.
Well, they've tried. With that, we close today's episode. Have a great day, everyone.
Everybody, I hope you go out and make it a great day. It's a beautiful day here in Maryland, and I hope that you enjoy it as well.
It's going to get stormy later.
Don't tell me that. I don't want to know that.
Oh, that's the self-doubt. See? Can't let go of it.